It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Gets Benny in the goal!
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win! The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker! Kenny Walker! Touchdown! Spotty! Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes! Caught! Touchdown Detroit Lions! They did it! Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end!
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here! A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good thirsty Thursday morning to you. It is the 4th day of May, 2023. We welcome you here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports and Network. Danny Gahler, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. From Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, we say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000 sports radio to 21000. Our Meyer Supercenter guest line, 248-951-2176. 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros, and, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports and Network. Added.com to that to find our website. XB Mornings is our fan feedback email inbox. You can find us all individually on Twitter. Danny Gahler is a Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. How are we on this Thursday morning? What's going on?
I mean, the Tigers swept another doubleheader, so we're all doing great over here. And we can it'll be even better if we beat up Max and then JV in back-to-back games.
And Dan's cousin hit 2 home runs yesterday.
He's not my cousin.
Sorry.
It would be cool if he was.
Friend's cousin's cousin.
We just have many mutual friends
that are cousins.
He will be standing, his wife, Eric Haas's wife, will be standing up in a wedding that I'm going to.
Whose wedding?
My buddy Jared.
Okay.
I was praying to God you said my cousins.
No.
I swear I was like, please say your cousins. That's Mrs. Haas to you. Dan. Yeah, really good day for the Tigers. Really good day.
Listen, the Tigers are the best team in Major League Baseball minus the AL East.
Still holds true.
Abolish that division. Just those teams don't exist anymore. The Detroit Tigers are the best team in Major League Baseball.
How about, I mean, man, what a strange year for them. And I know John Wagner, I could hear his voice. This is why you don't know anything till the holiday. You won't know anything until Memorial Day. And then I don't think we'll know anything then. To be honest with you, I think we're really on a week-by-week basis here with this team.
Right. We still got to play the Yankees twice, Boston one more time, the Blue Jays another time. Or we're done with the Blue Jays, aren't we? Or do we have to host them? I don't know. We still have plenty of games left versus the AL East.
Yeah, but, I mean, just like there's no they just don't have enough to really separate. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to have weeks like this. We're like, yesterday was a good day for Tigers fans. It was. Crowd looked decent on TV.
For the second game, yes.
Yeah, I mean, there were at least some butts in seats. I was thinking a lot about it, and it was like, man, Oakland's getting thrashed on the internet because they're going to lose their team because their owner doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be in Oakland anymore. And you think about the You think about losing the Raiders. You think about losing the Warriors. You think about now going to lose the A's. Like, you went from 3 professional franchises, and some people might be like, "Oh, well, the A's don't have any fans." You go back to the playoff games in 2019 and look at some of the still photographs from those games. The place is packed. Packed. I'm talking, I forget what they call the big upper deck there in Oakland in straightaway center field. Mount something is what they call it, because it's so far. Like, I don't even know how you get up there. I really don't. Like, it doesn't. You look at pictures of the Oakland Coliseum, it's like, how in the hell do you get to that third deck? And they're so bad that no one's even going to the games. And they had announced attendance the other day of like 2,500. Like, their minor league affiliates are outdrawing them right now. And that's a professional baseball team. And they've been getting a lot of flack. And, I mean, I've been looking at Comerica going like, well, it's not just the Oakland A's. Part of it is, weather I think plays a role. Maybe that plays a larger role here.
The games being rescheduled. Like, the day game yesterday was supposed to be the day prior, a night game.
Yeah, I mean,
people can't do a 1:00 game when it was supposed to be a 6:40 the night before.
You think people do a 1:00 game today?
I mean, I would expect there to be about as many people as last night.
Really, that's all? I would have thought it'd be,
I don't
busier for Justin Verlander. Maybe that's just me, but
it helps that they won both games yesterday.
Get a little juice going, huh?
I was thinking on the way here, is JV like going to? Is he like the Tom Brady of baseball in that, like, he's just gonna string it out for so long that his wife leaves him? Because, I mean, just looking at him and like seeing the interviews, does it look like he's lost the passion to be there? It seems like he wants to pitch for another 10 years if you just see him, his work ethic still.
Oh yeah, he's not leaving.
It seems like at least another 5 years.
Yeah, he really does present himself like he's a spring chicken, and he's got a lot left in the tank. And I think the big thing you said there was like his enthusiasm for the game. Right? I mean, everybody wants to know exactly. When you're questionable, it's like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers went from hiding in a hut with no light in the middle of nowhere to now he's Mr. New York. And maybe Green Bay, Wisconsin will do that to you. There's really nothing there. People are like, oh, it's such a great city. And I'm sure it is. It's very different than anything else. There's nothing to do.
It's the size of Dearborn.
Right. I mean, what are you supposed to do there?
Legitimately.
You can't go to a bar. You'll never get out of there. Like, so he can go to New York with Sauce, and they can go to the game, and they can hang out, and, he can explain to Sauce Gardner who Jessica Alba is, because Sauce didn't know who Jessica Alba was, which I was shocked. Speaking of enthusiasm for the game, I mean, my God. Did you see her the other night at the Knicks game? Jessica Alba?
Oh, yeah. Twitter was ablaze.
I mean, how do you stay that attractive for that long? I mean, she doesn't age. She's like Salma Hayek.
Money.
If you've seen any photos from Salma lately, I mean, she just doesn't age either. That's incredible. Like scorched earth. Like, my God, woman. Like, geez Louise. She's got to be, what, 40-something? 45?
Probably like 40.
You think 40?
Yeah, I'll do a quick search.
She's 42.
All right, split the middle then.
42, and doesn't look a day over 28. I mean, my God. Shocking developments there. I was happy to see her. All right, when we return, we will talk a little bit more about Mad Max's homecoming being soured as he made his return to Detroit. Speaking of the media, with the draft coming to Detroit, I wanted to know, will you attend? Some Kansas City business owners weren't necessarily thrilled with what they thought would take place in the draft. A little bit more on that. We'll get to the Stanley Cup playoffs last night. Tried to stay up as long as I could. Another 4-goal performance. Are you kidding me? John Maakron will join us on the Detroit Lions from the Detroit Sports Podcast. We'll have a lot of fun today, so don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Imagine this, a day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, it's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Share your thoughts all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
Veerling puts a jolt into one. Deep left center field. That's got Carey. Gone! Two-run blast for Matt Veerling. The Tigers are bowling up here today.
Is Matt Veerling the best player on the team?
He is the best. He looks like a baseball player. I bet if you see him on the street, you'd say, that guy's a baseball player.
You look like you play baseball.
Like Ian Kinsler. The dude just looked like a baseball player.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right there. Ian Kinsler definitely was one of those that just had that certain look. How do we feel, by the way? Let me throw this out there to the council. How do we feel about the Red Wings celebration with the hockey helmet and the stick and everything?
I've decided, like, if they didn't try to do the slap shot, if they just, like, looked into the camera and, like, pretended they were going to take a face off, that would be funnier.
Yeah, ditch the full-length stick and do mini sticks right in the dugout. Put a goal there, have someone get down, and you shoot a cup on your teammate. But still wear the Red Wings helmet. I get the corporate synergy there.
Yeah, right. I mean, what a cross promotion. But they want to be. What they should be doing is putting on a Lions helmet so you could have a real winner. That'd be nice.
Chris Ilitch doesn't own the Lions.
I know. That's why they need to put that helmet on. Forget what who owns what. Or they could put, maybe there's a hat with a giant parking lot on it. They could put that on there.
Hey, all those parking lots are turning into apartments now.
Mixed use developments, Dan.
The $16 billion or whatever that the taxpayers are giving.
How did they not get $16 billion out of those parking lots over the last 10 years? It's unbelievable. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of mixed use developments. That's what they are. Mixed use. I love that. With 20% being affordable. Yeah, okay. Noah from Toledo texting us. Me and my dad are going to the NFL draft in Detroit in 2024. Will you guys be going? Do you think the Lions will be good in 24? Hope you guys have a good Thursday. Yeah, I'll be going to the draft in 24. I'll be going to the games in 24.
It'll be great when we're picking 32nd.
Yeah, that's really going to be awesome. After we win the Super Bowl and, riding on the float with Rory, the mascot, eating Freddy's pizza, drinking Hennessy right from the bottle. It's right up down Woodward. Oh, it's going to be great. You can see me now. I might go shirtless like J.R. Smith. Shorten the MLB season. Stop starting in March. Nobody wants to watch baseball when it's 41 degrees out. Let's start. Better weather will equal better performance.
Did Mirza learn how to text?
Better attendance. Huh?
Said did Mirza learn how to text?
A Mirza?
Mirza?
Did Mirza learn how to text? Because Mirza always tweets at us. But this was a tweet also from Ken.
No, oh, okay. I was all confused on what's going on there. I thought I was mispronounced. I haven't heard from Mirza in a while.
No, I haven't either, but this is one of his staples. So it's one of his hits.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ken, if you wanted to start it later, like we said, you could do the double headers once a week. I don't think it hurts anybody. Just do them back to back, and then you really don't have any stress there. That'll save you a couple weeks throughout the course of the season. And
what baseball really needs is an in-season tournament.
Oh God, is that not the dumbest thing you've ever heard? Like Adam Silver's obsession with trying to recreate what Europe has, and everybody wants it. I get it. I understand it. It's unique to Europe. It's Europe only. That's what they have. Nobody else is ever going to have it, and just deal with it. They have something special because they have a bunch of countries that have a bunch of pro leagues that are all really good. That's everybody wants what European soccer has. You win your league and it's awesome. You could win the Premier League. How about Erling Haaland? 35 Premier League goals, unbelievable for Manchester City. Right? Great. And then if you place in the top four in the Premier League, then you go to the Champions League, which is the best teams out of every league, in Europe, the Italian league, the French league, the Spanish league. Like, it's awesome. But it's their own thing. Like, we don't have anything that can compete with that. So stop, like, this in-season tournament, players playing for money. They're already playing for too much money. I think they're already
don't
all
you
overpaid.
think? I think the NBA is also searching now that the 3-point competition, the dunk contest, all that stuff has kind of jumped the shark. The NBA is looking for something like the NFL draft. Like, the NFL draft is we're 7 months away from football, 5 months away from football, whatever. And people are geeked about this for months and months. That's what the NBA is looking for. Something that gives them a little push during a time of the season when they, it's the doldrums. Oh, LeBron sat out 8 games in a row with a bruised toe.
Bruised ego. It did, like, for football, so the NBA has the draft. They have the summer league. There's always great hype around the summer league. A great chance to see.
Recently, you're right. And the summer league, in the last 4 or 5 years, the summer league has jumped in popularity.
The summer league has been so successful in Las Vegas that they're going to have a franchise there. Like, Vegas is, especially now with sports betting legal and the stigma around it has dissipated somewhat. Like, the NBA is eyeing that 110% because they get great attendance. The issue that the NBA runs into and why they want an in-season tournament, it's the same issue that Major League Baseball runs into. It's the same issue that the National Hockey League runs into. You want to know what that issue is? Too many games. That's the regular season is just too long, and it's too long in all 4 of them. And I've been a stickler.
Franchises they've priced themselves out of live entertainment.
I think that's a major part too. Like, everything's like this corporate walking advertising billboard, right? I mean, you got stuff all over the floors. Tickets are through the roof. Concession stands are a joke.
I mean, to go to a Tigers game affordably, right now you have to look on the sites like day of or a day before the game for those prices to drop. Like, I'm looking if the cheapest ticket for a Tigers game 2 months from now on a weekend is $25 before fees.
Oh, before fees.
But, like, why? Like, that's $150 for 4 tickets for the Tigers.
You raise a good point. And you could say the same thing about the Pistons and the Red Wings because they're all in the same boat. An NFL ticket is just drastically different.
Yeah, NFL's its own.
But the NFL's their doors are only open 10 days a year.
Yeah,
right.
So like that's understandable. Like the NFL and college football, you can understand a little bit because it's so limited. So you understand the scarcity of that, but especially for baseball, it's like. Where are these deals where it's like on a week, especially the weekday summer games, you should be adult ticket, kids in free.
I don't hate that at all because they know they're going to pop you at the concession stand, unless you walk in there like, what was the film with the kid who had all the candy packed in his clothes? Heavyweights. He's got the Snickers bars in his
Tiger
belt.
Stadium. You used to be able to walk in with a full cooler.
You can walk in with chicken. You can get chicken shawarma from Bucharest and walk into Comerica Park. They have a deal.
Oh, well, they have a deal. As long as they have a deal. As long as
they have like I don't know, an understanding.
You used to be able to get a $1 bag of peanuts from the vendor on the corner.
Oh, those were the days.
And now you can't do that anymore.
It's outrageous. Price themselves out. I want to get back into this conversation. Recap the. We got a little derailed, but we'll come back and talk about Scherzer being there in Detroit. We'll hear from him as well. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
For a lot of us, music and mental health are intertwined. That's why the Collaborative Lab created In Tune, a free live stream event, and you're invited. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day, so take action for your own mental health by joining us from 7 to 9 p.m. Musical performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Barrel Bones, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to learn how you can join the party for free. April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month, so the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police has a few tips for you. Keep your eyes off of your phone, off of your touchscreen, and off of your passengers. And keep your hands on the wheel. Simple, right? Yet every day, 8 people are killed in distracted driving accidents. Wherever it is you're going, we would like you to get there. And so would everyone else on the road.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Can't call in? Text us using the keyword sports radio and send it to 21000 or tweet us at XB Mornings. Now back to Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, and Anthony Bellino.
With a drive, left field, back goes Canna, turns, good! 2 homers in one day, 3-0 Tigers.
Eric Haas, he can hit the ball far. You can hit the ball far, too, at Tullymore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes, Michigan. Tullymore offers not one but 2 championship golf courses, both Tullymore and St. Ives, located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. It's up north golf without the drive, and the lodging to be able to cater to you, your partner, your foursome, of the 400 of your closest friends and family. TullymoreGolf.com is the website. That's TullymoreGolf.com. Or call Matt Golden right now at 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. So great to have you all riding along with us here on this Thursday morning, the 4th day of May. We were talking a little Tigers. We got a little derailed there. I want to circle back to it, though, because the attendance for Game 2 looked pretty good. Obviously, Game 1, things made a little bit, change in the schedule. Okay, I get it. But the team is in a very interesting place because the Detroit Tigers, like, how many guys would start on a championship contending team? But yet they're only 5 games back of 500. And I found Dan sent me a really good tweet by somebody, and I wish I had a way to confirm just to make sure that these numbers are correct, but they look pretty good. Javier Baez, in his first 40 at-bats of 2023, he was hitting, his slash line was 100, 146, 100. Since A.J. Hinch ripped him a new one in Toronto, 365, 404, 519, and 52 at-bats. He had a solo shot yesterday. Like, that's pretty solid. And that's all it took for him to get benched and to be ripped into and, I guess, humiliated in front of his peers. Now, they lose the Orioles series, 3-1. They beat the Brewers 2-1. Like, they've had their back and forth. They lost to the Orioles again. They got swept by them. The Guardians series, they won that 2-1. The Giants won that 2-0 because one got postponed. So it feels as if there are times in which I think that the Tigers are good, but I'm not really quite sure exactly how good they are. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know what my buy-in level with this team can be. Like Nick Maton, like his catch yesterday at third, that ball was ripped off the bat, and my man just dove and immediate snag. Like, it was a beautiful, beautiful play. I just don't know if I can trust him. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? Like, I want to be excited, but I don't know. I'm just not too sure.
Well, the whole team is just too inconsistent now. I mean, if they, win today and then win another one, you start feeling good. But today seems like they'll go out and lose 9-1. We'll see what happens, but that just
because your trust level's really low, Dan.
It's not just that; it's they are, like they had a couple days off and they were super patient and they were hitting pitches that they were supposed to yesterday. Today, they might be a little too excited and they're jumping on everything and swinging at the curveball in the dirt or, the fastball inside on their hands, that type of stuff. But the guys who need to get the job done did it yesterday.
Can they string it together for one more day, right? Running through the box for you real quick. Verlander was 1 for 4 with a run scored. His average sits at 282. Javi Baez, 2 for 3, 3 runs scored, an RBI, a home run. season average up to 247. Riley Green 1 for 4 with a run scored, did strike out one time. Eric Haas was 2 for 4 with a run scored with 5 RBI, a dinger, did strike out twice. His average 265. He's in that DH spot. Should he? Jake Rogers, catcher of the future. There you go.
He's another bad defensive play yesterday for Jake Rogers in the first game. There was a throw that came in from the outfield, and he decided he was going to try and block it with his forearm instead of just catching the ball. He literally stuck his arm, he tried to elbow it down instead of just catching it.
Sometimes you gotta stick a forearm out there and see what happens.
2 Little League errors by the Tigers in Game 1. Single up to center field. Ball goes under Riley Green's glove, under Vierling's glove. And then literally the next play, there's a bad throw.
But they won.
They did.
That's embarrassing. Riley Green can't put his glove in the grass.
And by the way, there was a double in the game last night. First, it was early on. It was maybe middle of the game actually. It was off the center field wall. I don't know. It was within a couple feet of going over the new wall. Well, guess what? That ball's caught if the new wall isn't there. So that's another way to look at. Hey, Riley Green's robbing home runs. Yeah, you're also losing an out that turned into a double because the wall is there now.
What do you think about that wall?
It looks good from the vantage point of home plate and beyond, but I'm sure if you're in left field, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, I got to get out there. It's on my bucket list of things to do this summer. I need to go out and inspect that wall. Because I can't figure out if it looks like they did a good job with it or if it looks like it's something that they assembled overnight because 2 weeks before the season.
It looks assembled overnight because it's hollow throughout. It's not like they built it out. They just stuck some poles in the dirt.
Could have a good time. The rest of the order for that Tigers 6-5 winner over the Mets in Game 1. Just zeros across the board. Nobody could hit a thing. Only 6 strikeouts in game number 1. Remember, that's our number of the season. How many team strikeouts? Will the Tigers have any discipline at all? And then Joey went 6 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs. A lot of work, a lot of activity there. 83 pitches. Did walk 1, struck out 2, gave up 3 home runs. Vest gave up a hit in an inning and 2/3, and then Alexander Lang came in. They handled business. How about Tyler Alexander, by the way, gets the win through 1 pitch. It was a strike. It gets the win. I forget the last time I had the stat pulled up. I don't know where it went, though, of another Tigers pitcher who had just thrown 1 pitch or less to get credit for the win. I'm like, how do you throw less than 1 pitch and get credit for a win? Anyways. And then in Game 2, the Detroit Tigers
and pick someone off.
Yeah, that's it, and then to trot off the field.
Yep.
Tigers win Game 2, 8-1, so congratulations to them on that. That's where Max Scherzer was making his start. He went 3 1/3, gave up 8 hits, 6 earned runs, walked 1, struck out 3, and gave up 2 bombs. A couple of home runs. Eric Haas in the 2nd inning, and then Vierling in the 4th. And good for both of those guys. Bad for Mad Max. And I didn't want him to come out and just torch us. You know what I mean? That would have made me feel uncomfortable. Here comes Max Scherzer. He's so good. Oh, my God. We let him go. Blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, he comes out and no-hits us. No, 3 1/3, that's totally fine. That's good to see. Get him out of here. Have a nice day. Thanks for playing. All that good stuff. Here's Max after the game with some thoughts about his outing on Bally Sports Detroit.
Max, what do you think was the biggest issue for you tonight?
Just didn't do a good job of locating. Kind of was spraying the ball in the first, and I didn't pitch well out of the stretch. And that's kind of symptomatic of, when you have a long layoff, that's kind of one of the first things to go is, pitching out of the stretch. So, I feel like that's where some of the mistakes were, where I got beat. And, that's just the adjustment I got to make.
Is that something then that, given that I think you only pitched 3 innings in the last 3 weeks, and is it something that I guess is less worrisome in your mind?
Yeah, because for me, the number one thing is getting through this start healthy, back, good, check mark. So, okay, now we can get going again, and increase the pitch count and get back in the rhythm, get back in the flow of things.
Max, God bless you. I'm glad we caught him when we did. That's all I can say. And then whatever happens today, obviously I think that Justin Verlander's revered a little bit differently than Max. It'll be interesting to see the kind of reception and what's out there at 110 with Verlander on the hill. And maybe, Verlander versus Erod, this is a really good matchup here for the Tigers. And you look at Justin Verlander, who is coming off of injury. He's a guy that it could be a really nice opportunity for the Detroit Tigers, is what I'm saying. A good opportunity for them to be able to come out, get on them early, get them out of the game, and you look like this is, the Mets riding a 4-game losing streak. The Tigers are 7-7 at home. It kind of feels it doesn't feel as big with Verlander against Rodriguez, but I feel like this is kind of a big game because it is JV, because he is there, and it's there's a lot that come there. There's a lot here for Tigers fans. There's a lot to reminisce about with Max Scherzer on the mound. Both of those guys talking about it during some media availability and what it was like. I did. What about the comment? And did you guys hear this when Verlander was asked about going into the Hall of Fame? Did either of you see that?
I did not.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think about who asked the question, and gosh, it was about Verlander and going into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I saw it from Brad Galley's Twitter. Here it is.
Totally unfair question, but you're going to be a Hall of Fame pitcher, obviously. I don't think there's any question about that. Do you think you're a Tiger when all that?
Boy, is that unfair. Totally unfair. Next question, please. Fair enough. Is right on the spot.
I thought that one more time. That's good.
You're going to be a Hall of Fame pitcher, obviously. Totally unfair question, but you're going to be a Hall of Fame pitcher, obviously. I don't think there's any question about that. Do you think you're a Tiger when all that?
Boy, is that unfair. Totally unfair. Next question, please.
I like it. Rieger actually asked the question there.
That means he's going to be a Met for 5 years. What did I tell you? Couple rings there. That's all it takes.
Oh, man. He can't go in as an Astro.
You won't go in as a Met.
He's not going in as a Met. And, sure, he won a championship there in Houston.
He'd go in as a Giant because he won them a World Series before you go in as a Met.
It's some salt there, Ryan. I think I like the fact that he Rieger prefaced it. Totally unfair question here, and Verlander with the totally unfair. Next question. It was good. It's a good exchange, man. You can tell that I know that they're media guys, and it is what it is, and you have to deal with them at every stop, no matter where you're at. But you do build relationships with people, and there are people that are going to be special to you in your life at each one of your stops. It doesn't matter if you're there for, one season or one career, right? And we saw this with DeAndre Swift when he spoke to me. He said, first thing I want to do is thank Detroit for giving me a chance and for drafting me. And you think about it, and it's you made somebody's childhood dream a reality. And for Verlander, who comes out of nowhere early in his career, all of the success that he had in Detroit, what Comerica Park used to look like. So it's like thinking about the Joe during the Red Wings, or thinking about the Palace with the Pistons. It's such a, it doesn't feel like it's that long ago because we're old, but it's such a distant memory to what that ballpark, think about, take yourself back to Maglio's home run. Think about the excitement in that park. God, give it to me, Dan. Turn it. Oh.
If you want to donate and save a former ace pitcher today, please call 248-951-2177.
What's sad is they would squeeze the fan for this. They would squeeze the fan for that. Like, yeah, like they already got us upside down. They're holding us by our ankles, shaking our pennies loose, trying to find parking. But now they got to get an NIL fund going to meet the salary cap needs. Unbelievable. Just an absolute shakedown taking place. I'm being extorted is what's happening.
Crowdfund your baseball team today.
It's just terrible. That never should have been allowed to happen. I am salty.
Tigers, drop the link on your Twitter where you can donate.
I can't, Oh, we would have had to pay him. So what? What kind of business are you running that you're just afraid to pay people? Like one guy, what was Javi's? I keep saying it's 4 at 160. It's like 6 at 160, isn't it? Baez's contract,
something like that. Yeah.
I think I shaved a couple years off in my brain. Ooh, like what? Come on, especially for pitchers. I feel terrible. Miguel Cabrera has just been a shell of himself for the last 5 years, maybe more. Just god awful. That's no way for a Hall of Famer to close down his career. Should have been done last year. Just a mess. Then you don't pay the guys that you actually you got to pay them. You have to.
Cabrera's like 100% playing today, right? Get some Verlander. Cabrera.
He's got to have a hard hit foul ball somewhere. He's got to just chop one down the third base line just for fun.
How beautiful to see Miguel's only home run of the year to come off Justin Verlander. They move the left field wall in to 150 feet for today's game.
Yesterday was Bill Ford Jr.'s birthday, born in 1957, the year they won the very last title. And if the son is like his dad, he probably hasn't paid the contractor yet who built the new wall. Wow, shots fired at Mr. I. That guy can't catch strays here on this program. Jeez, relax. Verlander tonight for the Mets.
You also can't defame a dead person, so fire away.
Yeah, Mr. I's fine. All he wanted to do is win. The guy was willing to open up his checkbook. Hey, folks, the NBA action is here. How about that? Boston Celtics last night, my God, is giving the Sixers the business. Hope you bet on that. NBA playoff action means big hoops action with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Get in on all the excitement every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame money line bet. Score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Plus, everyone can score a no-sweat same-game parlay every day during the NBA playoffs. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, place the same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you get a bonus bet back up to $10. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117. 21 plus, Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required. One bonus bet issued based on the amount of the initial lose an NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, deposit restrictions will apply. Terms, sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. We'll be back with Hour 2 X's and Bros next here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Godsmack, live and in your face. Friday, May 26th at Soaring Eagle Casino, plus Bad Wolves. And same show, same night, Bullet for My Valentine. Tickets start at $28, on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. Party hard, rock harder. Godsmack, May 26th. Part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com. At MHSAA on Twitter and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Good morning, everyone.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, Vietnam.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here to X's and Bros on this Thursday morning to you. It is the 4th day of May, 2023. Hour 2 is officially underway. Text the keyword at any time. Join the program by sending the keyword Sports Radio to 21,000, Sports Radio to 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter, XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros, and of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at MichiganSportsNetwork.com. But that to find our website. Danny Cahalan is at Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. All right, what's going on in the world of sports? We'll try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news. I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
Huge news. Doubleheader, winner chicken dinner for the Detroit Tigers yesterday. Winning 6-5 and then 8-1. Good for them. Being able to do so. We've got a 110 first pitch today. Justin Verlander making his return to Comerica Park wearing a New York Metropolitans jersey. That's odd. At 3 o'clock today, you'll get Manchester United taking on, what do they have today? Brighton and Hove Albion is today's opponent in the Premier League, although it looks like everything's basically kind of settled in the Premier League this year. Unfortunate, but hey, just finish top 4, get in the Champions League. The Boston Celtics smoked the Philadelphia 76ers last night, 121-87. Series now tied at 1 game apiece. Malcolm Brogdon had himself a ball game along with Jaylen Brown. They combined for 48 points between the two of them. We had 2 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs last night. The Carolina Hurricanes, speaking of routing somebody, they beat the New Jersey Devils 5-1. The opening game of that series. So Carolina leads 1-0. And then in the nightcap, the game that I wanted to stay up for, like I just want to watch them. I just can't last any longer. I'm not going to make it. It's just too late. Edmonton and Vegas. It was 1-0 Edmonton. Vegas scored immediately right thereafter. Ended up being 6-4 in favor of Las Vegas. And wait until you hear what happened in this game right here. Oh, my goodness. It was the Golden Knights overcoming Leon Draisaitl's 4 goals. Another 4-goal performance after we just had one the other night. Now we got another one. Holy mackerel. The 2020 Hart Trophy winner scored all 4 of his team's goals. Wow. Postseason totals, the league high, 11 goals at 15 points. Jeez Louise. I mean, Joe Pavelski just did this. Scored 4 times in the 5-4 loss to the Kraken the night before. That's incredible. Just, I mean, 11 goals in the playoffs, and we're only in the second round. Like that's just flat out absurd. Young Jets players are in awe of their new teammate, Aaron Rodgers. Everyone is going googly eyes. Quincy Williams, the linebacker who's 26, said he was starstruck upon seeing him. Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver, said this is something 20 years from now, 30 years from now, I'll tell my kids I played with Aaron Rodgers. Sauce Gardner went to the basketball game with him.
I get Garrett Wilson being like head over heels for it because he's directly affected by it.
I mean, isn't everybody directly affected by
but
it?
Like
if you have Zach Wilson out there, you're not going to win. He's going to get benched. And people are going to tell me that the guy's good at quarterback.
He's catching passes from Aaron Rodgers.
You might catch some strays if you don't perform from Aaron Rodgers.
Well, let's see. Randall Cobb just signed with him, so Garrett Wilson may not be catching passes from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and a lot of people making a stink over the Randall Cobb signing. Like, look, when it comes down to it, and they need 7 yards, Randall Cobb will make the catch. He's signed on. He's wide receiver 5. It's just security blanket. It works out well. Sign him. Let the two kind of ride off like they're just, they're like Rice and Montana. So just let them do their thing. And it's amazing how quickly it went from, all that chatter about Zach Wilson. He's just forgotten about. See ya. Gone. Out of the league. He's going to be like Dylan Brooks. They're going to look really good with the Shanghai Sharks. Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins on his future said, quote, "I want to be in Minnesota. I would want to be there, too, if they paid me $80 million. Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill says that Will Levis' pick was a bit of deja vu. Will Levis selected 33rd overall. Yeah, we've been down this road before, so it's definitely a little bit of deja vu.
How about that alleged Messi contract?
So I don't understand. So Lionel Messi was suspended by Paris Saint-Germain, also known as PSG, for 2 weeks for unauthorized travel. He snuck away to Saudi Arabia to meet with the Saudis about their little JV league that they have that's worse than MLS. Ronaldo went over there because he was having so many problems with not only United, but also with his national team. Like, the guy was literally just like, give me the ball or I quit and I walk off. That's how good I am. And it's like, you got to do something else other than kick free kicks. Like, we can't just have you out here taking up space if you're not going to get back on defense. And so Ronaldo basically ruined his image, goes to the Saudi league, and now he's scoring like 5 goals a game because he's playing like a freshman level soccer. And he thought like that was going to repair it. Like, no real football fans. Football, they don't respect that league. Come on. You might as well come over here and play. But we can't pay you $400 million a year. That's what Lionel Messi is looking at making. $400 million a year. Like, when is enough enough? Why would you do this to your legacy? I don't understand the move at all.
Well, the government's going to take like $300 million of it because you hadn't paid taxes in 20 years.
Well, that's on your accountant. Still, legacy.
Aren't both Ronaldo and Messi in tax trouble?
There's a lot of tax issues with a lot of famous European people. Like, I don't know if they don't know how it works, if it's never been explained to them, or if they just are like, I'm not going to pay. But they're going to get their money. The governments are going to get their money. Like, Shakira is another one that was in, and then she blamed it on Gerard Piqué, because they're going back and forth with their nasty breakup. She wrote a song about him, just bad situation. Jackson Mahomes, who has been arrested and charged with aggravated sexual battery. The 22-year-old was booked in Johnson County, that's in Kansas, detention center on a $100,000 bond at 8:42 Eastern time in the morning on Wednesday. That'd be yesterday. According to online records, he's been charged with three counts of aggravated sexual battery and an additional 4th count of battery. Dude, how much battery can you have here? So apparently, surveillance video published by TMZ appears to show Mahomes kissing a woman while his hands are grasping her neck. The 40-year-old woman who owns the Aspen's Restaurant and Lounge in Overland Park also accused Mahomes of shoving a member of the restaurant's waitstaff in a separate incident. They all got to be felonious. I want felonies across the board. I don't ever want him to get out. Like, get out of here. Jeez, like, the only reason we know who you are is because of your brother. Your entire life is a failure. Your entire life. You have not done one thing of substance for anything except for make TikTok videos on the sidelines of your brother's games and hoot and holler and scream on the internet. He is
and the thing is, that's all he had to do with his life.
Well, and he's the epitome of today's youth. Like, that's what today's youth is. They want to make TikTok dances. They want to be they want to cry and throw temper tantrums when something doesn't go their way. Like, he's the highlight. Like, that's the poster child for what we should be fighting against. People like this. Lock them up. Throw them in the ocean. Sharks got to eat too. The Golden Knights got 4 goals. They got past the Leon Draisaitl's 4 goals last night. I still can't believe that. 6-4 your final score there. Max Scherzer a little shaky in his return. Went 3 1/3. Wasn't good enough, and good for the Tigers to be able to beat the Mets in both games of that doubleheader. And, that's what we got for the headlines. Got some text messages coming in. Don't go anywhere. We're step aside. We're going to come back, talk more about that battle royale last night between Eichel and McDavid. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base!
Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street, you're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Did you know that churches, businesses, schools, and sporting events need to be safe? Of course you did. But did you know where many of those groups and organizations turn to make sure their safety measures are current and comprehensive? Their local Michigan Police Department. That's where. We all want to be safe, and we can bring in the experts by starting the conversation with our local police department. Contact them today to find out more.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
From Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, you're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Got a tweet here from John. He says, start early and 7-inning double hitters every Saturday. Oh, and only play 100 games per year. But if we do that, if we shorten the season, then guys that play once every 5 days aren't going to be able to make $30 million a season, and we know what kind of travesty that would be. Now you could dog Okuda now. It's okay. He's not a Lion anymore. He got benched last year, in case you forgot to mention that last year. That's got to be from Freddie. I probably won't have much to say about Jeff Okuda because we're probably not going to see him play a whole lot. Yeah. I mean, unless he makes a highlight getting torched by somebody, I don't imagine myself watching a whole lot of Atlanta Falcons football. Do we play the Falcons this season? I don't think we play the Falcons this season. Scheduled release is May 11th for the NFL, and so we'll see our opponents in the order that we are going to see them in. We know the location, we know the opponents, we just don't know the days. So yeah, I'm glad that we don't have the overseas game. I can tell you that much. I'm glad that game against Kansas City is going to be. It's just going to be a standard NFL game right here in the good old U.S. of A. Because at that point, I'm tired of taking our product overseas when we get really nothing in return for any of it. All right, time now for.
They did a couple of games over here, Anthony. Now, did you attend at either of those?
Well, which games are you talking about?
The Big House games.
I did both of the ones at the Big House, and then I did the one at Comerica Park.
Okay. So,
PSG and Roma was at Comerica Park.
That's the same exact thing.
Not even close. United versus Real Madrid in 2014 or whatever year we did that at the Big House, 2016 maybe. It's an exhibition. The Champions Cup or whatever it's called, that's an exit. That game is meaningless. Hell, Ronaldo didn't check in. This is when Ronaldo was the real deal at Real Madrid, and 114,000 people were chanting his name. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but that was wild. That was really cool. It's a meaningless game. We're playing real meaningful football games overseas. We get nothing for it. All we do is lose a home game. It's terrible. Absolute travesty. All right, what else is going on in the sports world? Well, besides that, it's hour 2 at segment 2, which means, first we have to get to one of Will in Comstock Park's favorite segment of the show. It's time for little Detroit Lions trivia. Going back to the draft in 2021, name the 2 defensive linemen that the Lions drafted in 2021. There's a second rounder and a third rounder.
Lee McNeil and Levi. How do you say that?
Onzarike.
There we go.
Levi owns a Nike.
There we go. Boom. Bingo. Blam. Kablam. Great Nickelodeon show.
Nicely done. That was quick and easy. Wasn't bad at all. All right. Last night, all I wanted to do, and it started at 9:30, so I got a good chunk of the game early on in, but just could not stay up late enough to be able to watch what took place between the Golden Knights and my Edmonton Oilers. I want Edmonton to be the team that does it for the entire country of Canada. I want Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup. I've come to the conclusion that is who I'm rooting for. Now, mind you, my team is not in the playoffs. I could change the team that I'm rooting for at any time without any sort of disclaimer or warning. I can jump the fence and I can switch sides like Kevin Durant faster than anybody. But for me, I am rooting for, openly, the Edmonton Oilers. Leon Draisaitl scored 4 goals. He's got a league-high 11 goals, 15 points right now. We just had game 1 of the second round. We're talking about some potentially all-time numbers from Draisaitl. And somehow, the Golden Knights, it was it was early. Draisaitl's in his office early. He's always, on facing the goal. He'll be in that right side, real close to the net. And that's where he'll receive the puck or slapping a rebound, and that's it. There's no stopping that guy right there. It's he had the first goal of the period. He had the last goal of the period in the first period. His first was on the power play. The Edmonton power play percentage right now is insane. It's like over 55% going into the game. And, for as much as the media's hyped up Connor McDavid against Jack Eichel, that's not to take anything away from Connor McDavid, but my goodness, like Draisaitl, like good God. And that was right after Pavelski 2 nights ago put 4 in the net. So just a really, really good game there from him. But for whatever reason, they could not get it done in Game 1 on the road against the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, Vegas, great anthems. I don't know what the Vegas Golden Knight, like they have a wind-up horn, very similar to what Carolina has. Like Carolina's got the hurricane horn, which I always find is very interesting because a hurricane can be a very traumatic experience that, can force you to lose your home. So it's interesting to me that, they named a team after, like, whatever.
If you're from the South Hurricanes, it's just like a haha, we're another hurricane.
I don't know, man.
I thought hurricane season was over.
Yeah, you might
I'm
have
not
to
ask my cousin lives in the Keys. It's like they literally have hurricane parties.
So when Dan goes to the Eric Haas's cousin's wedding, that's his cousin's. We asked.
It's not.
So we gotta ask Eric Haas next media availability. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Anybody who lost their home in West Florida this past year, I can't imagine is like, oh, it's just a ha-ha event.
I think some people view it as that in Florida.
If you're real Floridian and you've been there and you've seen Andrew and whatever, it's a joke. Yes, it's like
some
hey,
of them
this
are
happens every 5 years.
Yeah, some of them are stubborn enough.
I don't know. I've never laughed at a tornado, but that's
Anthony. I mean, I guess there was a tornado in Bedford, but I mean, there hasn't been a tornado within 20 miles of your house, has there?
My 18th birthday.
Was it really?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember the last tornado that came through. Regardless, you might feel that way. I'm not a natural disaster guy because they're going to continue to get worse as time goes on, unfortunately. And yeah, it's a lot of damage, a lot of damage, a lot of destruction, a lot of people die. We won't go down that path. But the Hurricanes, they beat the Devils in their first game 5-1 2 nights ago, and last night. And then of course you had 2 nights ago, you had the performance there from Pavelski. So tonight you get a doubleheader of action. Florida and Toronto on TNT at 7 o'clock. That game is in Toronto. Remember, Florida actually won game number 1 in Toronto. Little bit of a shocker. Maple Leafs, I mean, it's the playoffs. You could say this about every game, too. You could have said it about the Celtics last night if you wanted to. You could say it again in the following game at 9:30 tonight with Seattle and Dallas. In Seattle and Dallas, I don't really have like a whole lot. Like if it's on, I'll watch it, that type of deal. But I don't really have like a real urge. Like it's not something I'm going to circle on my calendar. I do want to see Austin Matthews and the Maple Leafs at 7 o'clock tonight. So I'm looking forward to that very much. But the Kraken and the Stars aren't really doing. They're not really. I'm sorry. They're just not. They're not moving the needle for me personally. But that Oilers, my goodness. I mean.
Oh, the Stars move the needle for me because
you like them.
I don't. But the Stars are one of those teams that they can be terrible for 2 years and then they're good for 3 years and then they're terrible again. I would like our franchises to be like that. I don't need a 20-year period. How about we have 3 good years, an off year, 3 more good years? That's why I like the Stars.
I would sign up for that.
Yeah, the Stars. That's what the Stars do.
I want to jump back into this conversation on the other side, but we got to hit the break. We'll be right back after this here on X's and Bros of the Michigan Sports Network.
Got any plans for Mental Health Action Day? You do now. Join us online on Thursday, May 18th from 7 to 9 p.m. for In Tune, a free live stream event featuring performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Br0's, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to find out how you can log in and join the celebration for free. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day. Take action. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org and join the celebration.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
If you or your family is touched by autism, learn more about Freddy's Foundation at #PopTheTap at FreddyThePizzaman.com. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com, or email FreddyThePizzaman@gmail.com.
Imagine this, a day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, it's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Share your thoughts all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
You know what this song reminds me of? Tullymore. Tullymore Golf Resort. Throw us on the speaker and go hit bombs at Tullymore. Go call my friend Matt Golden right now. He and his team are ready to welcome you to one of the best golfing experiences in the great state of Michigan. Tullymore Golf Resort, Canadian Lakes, offering not one but two championship courses, Tullymore and St. Ives. They're only a couple minutes away from each other. And actually, they shuttle you from one course to the other, which is great. Tullymore is located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. It's up north golf without the drive, and located smack dab in the middle of the state. It's easy to get to no matter what direction you're coming from. Tullymore not only features top-line golf, but also top-line accommodations and the perfect space for your wedding, event, reception, or group outing. Visit TullymoreGolf.com, TullymoreGolf.com, or call 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Let's get to Mark in Gun Lake. The Bison Daylight special last night, I couldn't stay up. We came on right after the basketball game. I was like, man, I want to watch. And I just, next thing you know, Mark, what's going on? How are you?
Oh, that's one of the most bizarre stories I've ever seen. I was wondering if you had caught any of that, but do you know anything about that at all? That story?
Just that he was on a boat, he went missing, and then like they were searching for like how did this happen, and then like nobody would talk. Like it was, I don't know. I don't know enough to say. I think that's what happened. Is that what happened? Did you watch it?
Well, his brother tried to assume his identity by taking his passport and driver's license, his checkbook. He was writing checks. Well, one check was for like $152,000. They finally busted him, knowing Bison was left-handed, and his brother was signing checks right-handed. And they found out that he was trying to assume his identity, and then one of his brother's best friends got involved with questioning him and choking him, and it was just a really, really, and I can't believe he just quit the Pistons and all that money to just go out and get fed to the Sharks. It was just an unbelievable story. So I don't know. That's just a crazy story.
I'm going to have to watch it because it did come on. It was called, what, Rich and Shameless or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was on
like
right
that.
after the NBA on TNT's coverage of Game 2 had concluded between the Sixers and the Celtics. And I saw it, and then the Oilers were on. I was like, oh, God, we got to get oily. So I was trying to watch that. It's just so much going. It's so much happening all at one time.
Right. Yeah, just to shift gears real quick here, if he could hit, my favorite Tiger would be Zach Short. That guy can field like crazy. He's a great shortstop, even good second baseman. I don't know if you've seen the play in the 8th inning last night, but that guy's got a gun. He can flag down anything that's in his way, but he can't hit very well. So I always root for the underdog, when it comes to these guys that are going back and forth from Toledo to Detroit. I want them to be successful, and I like that guy. I really do. I just wish he could hit the ball better.
I think that the interesting thing about the Tigers, and I did see there was an article this morning. I think Jeff Seidel had written it. It was about like the race. We talked about this in hour number 1 a little bit because I don't want to give up on them, but I also don't think that they're going to lose 100 games this year. Like I thought that at the beginning of the year, watching them play, like their margin for error is so thin that every game is going to be like relatively competitive, right? There might be some low scoring affairs, but at the end of the day, like they're going to be in some games. They're just going to have to get some blue collar wins.
Absolutely. And I'll let you go after I say one more thing about the Tigers. I hope Verlander loses today. I really do.
Do you?
Yes, I liked Verlander when he was with the Tigers because if they lost 3 or 4 in a row and then he'd go out and pitch, that streak would be broken. But I don't want Verlander to beat the Tigers today. I want the Tigers to win that game. So you guys have a great day. I like your show, and we'll talk at you another time. So,
all right,
thank
partner,
you.
we appreciate you, and I got to watch that Bison Daily special. Why would European athletes pay taxes? So a puppet with dementia could send it to the Ukraine to launder money earned from his, poison vaccine, big pharma insider trading. Sounds dumb to me. Will in Comstock Park. Will, we got to, man. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you on some things. It's just sometimes
Sounds like he needs a trip with Aaron Rodgers to.
Sometimes you just go like a little. If you could just tone the text down a little bit, it just kind of make it just kind of bring it in a little bit. I could level with you there. Will just I just imagine him just rage texting, like getting so angry. This Will in Comstock, he was just furious. Bookmark text: New England will win more games than the Jets next year. That is going against me supporting my fellow tractor and one of my favorite quarterbacks ever, Aaron Rodgers. He will implode that team. Who sent that in? And why are we acting like the New England Patriots are like? Do we forget who's in that division? Miami Dolphins are in that division. They're not terrible. Maybe their quarterback will be healthy. And there's a team in Buffalo, the best team in the state of New York, is in northern New York, upstate.
The only team in New York.
Oh, yeah, that is also true because the other two play in New Jersey. So, yeah, I wouldn't set the bar with Mac Jones and the New England Patriots as the standard. I mean, they're not the standard anymore. That would be the Buffalo Bills. They run that division right now. And actually, I don't think it's going to implode. As much as I want to watch the Jets implode, and I hope that this doesn't work out, all the young guys are going to gravitate to Aaron Rodgers. He could say jump, and they'd all say how high. This is their best chance to win. They know it. They know it. They weren't going to. I mean, when you got to bench the guy that you drafted for Joe Flacco, like that's just you're telling me everything you need to know. You know, some guys, if they would have gotten a little mouthy at a press conference, they got enough juice to be able to make up for it on the field. That was just an all-time. That's like Malik Willis level selection right there. So I wanted to, you're coming back from this, I wanted to dive into a little bit more of the playoffs. Terry had sent a tweet in, and he wants Toronto to get eliminated. Me personally, I actually wouldn't mind at all to see a Toronto-Edmonton finals. Like, I don't know why everybody, like, laughs at the fact that Canada hasn't won a Stanley. Oh, Canada hasn't won a Stanley Cup in how many years? Well, I mean, think about it. The odds are stacked against them. Because you only have, 6 Canadian teams? You got Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Calgary, Vancouver. Right? Take the field. Just purely based on math alone, take the field. That would be like us walking out there and be like, oh, the Atlantic Division can't win the state. Well, yeah, there's 3 other divisions. Like, yeah, there's a whole other country playing. So for me personally, I want to see Toronto have some success because I don't really have anything against Maple Leafs fans. I wasn't around in the 30s, so I don't know what they were like. When Gordie Howe was playing later on, I don't know what they were like. But I'm sure they're fine now. And but for me, it's still Edmonton to win it all. Edmonton, I just picture Edmonton in my mind and don't see anything happening there. Like, what's going on in Edmonton? It was a bubble city for the playoffs. Outside of that, I've never been to Edmonton. It seems cold. I don't really like the cold very much. Huge is on hold. Let's talk to the Huge one today. Good morning, Mr. Huge. How are you, my friend?
What's happening, man? I heard that great caller Mark talking about Verlander, hoping he doesn't win. The Tigers, you're saying they're going to be around, not lose 100. I kind of agree with you. They play well against good teams. They got some spirit. Torque, it was good to see him hit in the second game. But, here's what Verlander and Scherzer are coming back. And what Verlander has done with the Astros does to me is that it's like a girlfriend who dumped you, and she marries a billionaire, and you're living in a studio apartment handling the drive-through at the local burger flipping joint. And I'm looking at 2006 to 2014, and, yeah, we had some great moments, great times, but we left 2 World Series parades down Woodward on the table, I'll give what John Vanderwall, the former major leaguer, said on the Huge show yesterday. He says, when they traded Verlander, it looked like he had a year or two left. And he goes, he'll give him a lot of credit for what he did, just being that fighter and reemerging as one of the best pitchers in baseball. But to me, as I look at the end of Miguel, and it's obvious he doesn't have it anymore, but he gave us so much. It's what the Tigers left. No World Series ring. No full celebration beyond winning the AL a couple times, man. I'm just like, Mr. Ilitch was such a good owner, and Chris runs it like a business, and he's a good guy. I've met him numerous times, but I just don't know where the Tigers are going, because you're going to try and pick what young guys can flourish. And I do love Short's defense, and I like Verlander, and Riley Green will be fine, but they just have no protection in the lineup right now, and Haas was awesome yesterday with the 6 RBIs, but, you're looking at another couple of years. I mean, what's that rebuild? I mean, that rebuild is going to stretch beyond a decade. Can you believe that?
Yeah, and like that's the thing. So, you watch them play, and I think blue collar is a good way to play it, because we just don't have. I mean, Javier Baez is our one big free agent acquisition. Oh my goodness, right? And he's playing a lot better ever since his numbers are way up ever since AJ Hinch benched him and embarrassed him. And sent him into the clubhouse there. Where was that at? In Toronto when that happened. And he's been much better, which is great. But they just, I mean, it's kind of like a hodgepodge band of misfits, if you will, out there with some rookies that we hope have promising careers. We still don't have all of our arms healthy. And it's like, I don't know, but they're going to be like, they're in most games. I mean, it's not like they're getting shelled every single night. They're just no good against the AL East.
Well, and this is, what we were saying with Vanderwall, who really was one of the great pinch hitters in baseball, lives in West Michigan, and he comes on, every couple weeks with me in studio, is that they're looking at what guys can be everyday major leaguers. And then the jury's still out.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have those flashes like yesterday where you're like, okay, this team literally looks like they could be a 500 baseball team. And then they'll disappear for 6 or 7 games.
You know what's sad, though? You say huge. You know what's sad is when you said they look like they could be a 500 baseball team. Like that's where our bar is at for this club right now. Can we just get back to 500?
Ilitch, that's my point here.
Uh-huh.
That's my point. That you're in almost that Wings conversation, the Pistons conversation right now. Okay, Lions are set. They're a top 4 team, top 5 team in the NFC. That should be, if they're not in the playoffs, total disappointment for the Lions, which is stunning. We talk with the reverence now for that team. But when you look at the Wings, the Pistons, the Tigers, there's a similarity that now you're just hoping, hey, maybe the Wings can just get back to the playoffs. Or, and I'm looking at all these horrible defensive teams in the playoffs, or you got an 8 knocking off a 1. That's why you hope they can just get back what Florida did to Boston. But I'm going to tell you about the Tigers. If Chris Ilitch, and with Scott Harris, the new president in, who Vanderwall likes, I like, is that, the Verlander, there's some good deals you can already see he's made. But if Chris Ilitch doesn't open up the pocketbooks and follow in the footsteps of his father, and next offseason doesn't authorize the purchase of 3 strong free agents in terms of in the field, in the lineup, a couple of free agent pitchers, your rebuild is going to extend into that 12 to 13-year window, and you're looking at crowds now with shorter games. And you got to drive 3 hours. Let's say you live on the west side of Muskegon, listen on 96.1 out of Grand Rapids. You drive 3 hours to watch a 2-hour and 4-minute baseball game and drive 3 hours back. Good luck with that. They better start opening the doors an hour early for games to let people feel like they're getting value, especially if your team is in a championship or at least playoff contender. So Chris Ilitch needs to open up the pocketbooks after this season. They're not going to do it through their young guys. They're not going to do it like, Tampa. Everybody wants to hit the Tampa lottery.
They all wanted to be the Oakland A's in Moneyball too, right? Every owner looks at Tampa and goes, "Wow, I don't really have to spend anything. Look at how good. Look at this. How great is that? You know what I mean? It makes sense, right? You're not buying your inventory. The cost of your inventory is low, and you're getting an incredible bang for your buck. Your margin, your profit margins are huge. I understand that, But that's like, I mean, it's Tampa now because they do things a little bit differently. Before then, it was the Oakland A's, and I haven't seen anybody smart enough to come up with the next iteration of it. So you might as well spend some money, give us somebody to be excited about, or a few somebodies to be excited about, and go out there and be competitive. But, like, I don't understand how this is, like, looking at crowds, yeah, you're right. I mean, our crowds are as bad as the Oakland A's. You see what's going on out there in Oakland. That's a disgrace.
They're going to Vegas, so those players are, they're happy. Vegas.
I know. They're just like, one more year of this. We're out of here. The players probably don't have the bags packed.
We won't even sleep during homestands. I mean, when you got a bunch of 20-something guys. I just think Chris Ilitch, he needs to let Harris do what Yzerman has with the free reign with the wings, and he has to. If not, you're going to begin to lose a generation. And I know they've shortened the games and the younger generation and quick and baseball's boring, but you still have your other generation that built the game. So it's a delicate balance right now for the Tigers. And I will say, I have Baez is starting to hit. I think they're going to trade him by the trade deadline. People are like, well, then they can get something for Rodriguez. And I'm like, what? You're going to hit the restart button again? From what you did 2 years ago when you picked them up?
Yeah, I don't know the Rodriguez. I mean, you got to keep somebody who's a legitimate starter.
Keep Rodriguez. You need an ace. I can see trading Baez. They do have a backlog of minor leaguers, but let's remember, you can't turn to the minor leaguers because you have the number one rated farm system, and you're seeing right now with that number one rated farm system that was led by Green and Torkelson. You're seeing if they can be everyday major leaguers. And you can't go back and say, well, we're going to restock, West Michigan, Erie, Toledo. We're going to see what happens. They don't have another 10 years to wait. I love what they did in sweeping yesterday. I don't think they have enough talent to be consistent. I like when they surprise me, like sweeping the Mets, or what they do against these good teams. And I believe it's up to Chris Ilitch to say, I'm going to make a commitment to winning and follow in the footsteps of his father. I have to say something, Anthony. As I listen to your show, it's become a popular destination in Grand Rapids, Toledo, across the state. It's unbelievable. Dan and Ryan's fan club in Borculo, which is just kind of near Holland and the Grand Rapids area. For those guys to have their own fan club, a couple of turkey and onion farmers got together. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, thank you, Huge. We appreciate you, my friend. Drive safely this morning on the way to work, would you?
I love you, and I love Bellino.
Oh, man. Catch the Huge show later on in the Michigan Sports Network. Find the affiliate in your area, MichiganSportsNetwork.com, or, of course, on the iHeartRadio app. Just search 96.1 The Game. A reminder, turkey and onion farmers. That's what you guys are up to over there in the studio, huh? NBA playoffs means big hoops action with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Get in on all the excitement every game with the touch of a button. New customers, they can make $5 pregame moneyline wagers and score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Yes! Plus, everyone can score a no-sweat same-game parlay during every day of the NBA playoffs. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Opt in and place the same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you get a bonus bet back up to $10. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Sign up using the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. Now, if you or somebody knows a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline at 800-270-7117. 21 plus, Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required. One bonus bet issued based on the amount of the initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions all do apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Yes. Nailed that one out of the park. Hour 3 is next. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
Step up to the plate at Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile sportsbook app that you can bet on all your favorites all year round, including, of course, our national pastime. So download the app and start winning today at Eagle Casino and Sport. Made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Must be 21 years or older and in Michigan to play. Having Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer in town this week sure brought back a lot of good memories of all the great starts those two made in the Tigers uniform, including starts that were great in unusual ways. One of the memories that sticks in my mind is the start that J.V. TV made when he was a rookie against the Twins. Verlander, one of the great strikeout pitchers in Major League history, pitched 8 innings of shutout ball with no walks and no strikeouts in a 2-0 Tigers win. Pitching 8 innings or more with no walks, no strikeouts, and no runs allowed is extremely rare. It's only been done 3 times in the last 25 years, and one of the other 2 times also by a Tigers pitcher. In 2014, Tigers pitcher Rick Porcello shut out the Oakland A's 3-0.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. Spin the money wheel and win up to $100,000 cash. Every Saturday in April from 5 to 11 p.m. One winner each hour will spin for the win and take home up to $100 grand. Whirl in for $100,000 money wheel. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner! To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win! The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker! Kenny Walker! Touchdown! Smarty! Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes! Caught! Touchdown Detroit Lions! They did it! Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end! Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here! A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports and Network. Our good buddy, John Maakron, is going to join us coming up at 8:35 this morning. Detroit Sports Podcast. We're talking a little Lions draft with him. Excited about that and excited about you being able to join us no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio. From Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword sports radio, send that to 21,000, sports radio to 21000. Myers Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. That's where we find Freddie. Good morning, Freddie. How are you, my friend?
Mr. Bellino. How are you, Mr. Bellino? I was at your father told me not to call him Mr. Bellino. He told me to call him Dan. You got a great father there, but I just want you to let you know that. Appreciate your father.
Thanks very much. You guys hanging out on Twitter, or did you actually see him?
That's none of your business. That's none of your business. So, first of all, I have a lot to unpack here.
Okay.
I'm not sure if the last caller, I don't know what his name was, but I got to tell you, I sure miss Scott from Grand Rapids because he actually brought a lot of knowledge and points and stuff that made sense. You know, where's Dave the Ice Cream Man? I mean, I thought for sure he would be calling about Peyton Thorne transferring out of Michigan State. I was just curious. Now, let's do some unpacking. But first of all, I was told to go to Michigan Sports Network on YouTube, and if you add it .com, that's their website.
Yes.
You will find Anthony Bellino is on the beach. I didn't even know that.
No, you won't. You'll see. I'm sitting right here. I'm literally in the dining room right now.
Oh, okay. I was told you were somewhere else. I don't want to say it, but I was told you were somewhere else.
He is. He's in the dining room of his wherever he is in. I'm in a different dining room. I'm in sunny Ada, Michigan.
All right. So let's do some unpacking here, okay?
Yeah.
About the Detroit Tigers.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Because I don't know if I was laughing or
crying.
Illich
Every time you turn on the
businessman.
TV, you don't know if you're going to laugh or cry. That's the glory of the 2023 Tigers.
Chris Illich is a businessman. He's a good guy. I met him. Okay. Well, now he's not like his dad. Okay. Now I'm going to argue with Danny here because I know Danny's going to bring it up as soon as I bring it up. Can people stop with that stupid narrative? Can we talk about Mr. I, 1992 to 2005? Let me know how much money he spent, and let me ask you about his farm system, 1992 to 2005, and all the managers he brought in. Larry Parrish, Phil Garner. You want me to go on and on and on? Buddy Bell. You want me to go on and on
Felipe
and on?
Alou?
Felipe Alou. No, he was the bench coach. No, he was actually the bench coach. Felipe Alou.
He was an interim manager.
No, Luis was the manager. They brought in Felipe Alou as his bench manager, bench coach.
That's all right.
Luis, huh?
Polina, right? Luis Polina?
Whatever. Okay?
All his money was going to the Red Wings.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Now, I heard a caller today bring up Zach Short. He was a great shortstop, but he can't hit. Chris Truby. Anyone remember Chris Truby under Mike Ilitch? Chris Truby? I remember Chris Truby. He batted .096, but man, can he ever cover third base?
Hey, what about Craig Paquette, okay?
There, thank you. Can we stop with the stupid narrative that Mr. I opened up his pocketbooks? No, he didn't open up his pocketbooks. He was a businessman. He wanted a new stadium, and he said, screw you, fans. I ain't getting you nothing, okay? And you're going to like it. I got you a Tiger's Den at the Tiger Stadium. That's what I got you. $11 million Tiger's Den, so you can go buy your hot dogs and your pizza outside. But when you go inside, you're going to see Chris Truby. Chris Truby, you don't have a farm system. This team actually has a farm system. Last year, everybody wanted to see what was going on this year, meaning they're playing with a little bit of heart. They're playing a little bit better. Last year, everything went wrong. Everybody wanted Avila gone. Now he's gone. And now we're going to talk about Chris Ilitch has to open up the pocketbooks and start spending money. Like, he hasn't spent money in the last couple years. It hasn't worked out. And we're talking about Eduardo Rodriguez being an ace, and we're going to trade Baez. Oh, yeah, let me find out. Pick up the phone right now. Who wants Javier Baez? Here, we'll give you Javier Baez. You can have Torkelson, too, because I know you don't want Javier Baez, but we'll give you Torkelson, too. And just give us back some rosin so we can give it to Max Scherzer to take back to New York. I mean, are we kidding me right now? Eduardo Rodriguez, when the weather warms up, let me know how he does. Let me know if he's an ace when the weather warms up versus getting some major league prospects like Scott Harris got for Giovanni Soto, which everyone hated. And now everyone likes the two guys that are on the roster. Can we please stop? Are we kidding me right now? Bellino, listen, I'm so jealous of you. I wish I was in Florida. You're the man. You're a star. I got to go. Love you guys.
Freddie's passion for the Tigers sounds like where I was at with the Pistons.
No, I understand Freddie's frustration about the repainting of Mr. I's legacy, because I think it was Tony Paul brought it up like last week. Is like, we sure we don't owe that credit more to just Dave Dombrowski, considering what the Tigers were under Mr. I before he got there?
Oh, 100%.
So I think the credit just kind of gets.
Well, it's because Mr. I died.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. I mean, you look at the way that Kobe Bryant's revered right now. Like he could never do any wrong. But I mean, if you were around during the scandal in Colorado, if you were around during the Kobe and Shaq years, and you know that it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. We just don't want to, defamate the character of someone who's not living to be able to defend themselves. So I get it, man. I understand. And yeah, like Ilitch's money, like that was going into the Wings. Like that's where they were spending their money, was the Red Wings. I mean, the Red Wings were beginning to pick things up a little bit, and the Russians were coming over, and things were on the up and up for the Detroit Red Wings, and that was the talk of the town. I mean, the Tigers, they're 04. What was it? What year was that? 02? What year did they win like 43 games?
03, 43 and 119.
Yeah, just I mean, come on. Like your program is never going to be that desolate that you're only going to win 43 games in a season. Like that's neglect is what it is. And that's what you're seeing in Oakland. You're seeing the same thing in Oakland. I mean, they are driving. Their fans aren't even showing up to games. And that's a fan base that, I mean, they were playoff photos that were circulating, but people are like, oh, the A's don't have any fans. The A's a classic cap. Like, I don't know. If they end up, they have the plot of land in Las Vegas, do they change names, or are they the Las Vegas Athletics? That's kind of a lot to say. Do they stick with the same color scheme? Do they completely, remake?
No, dude. Imagine the LVA logo, how sick that's going to look.
It
they
might
could make it look
but
awesome.
But I don't think you can. You got to keep the green and the yellow, right? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be the Athletics for sure.
Could be a total rebrand.
No
in Las
way.
Vegas. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Bill Simonson here for Roast Umber Coffee. It's a farm direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And their Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option with no sugar or additives. So if you want a great coffee or energy drink to power you through your morning and your day, it's available in ground or whole bean or in cans. More information on the website and direct delivery to your door at roastumber.com.
The 1-2. Right side, there it is! Hey, sports fans, here's a hanging curveball that you can knock out of the ballpark. This is Matt Shepard, the voice of Detroit baseball, inviting you to step up to the plate at Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile sports book where you can bet on all your favorites all year round, including, of course, our national pastime. So download the app and start winning today. Eagle Casino and Sports, made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Must be 21 years or older and in Michigan to play.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you right along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio as well. Seattle forward Matty Br0's and Buffalo defenseman Owen Power, two of the three finalists for the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year, two former Michigan Wolverines. That's where I want to take this conversation next, because it is today is the big day. And today is the day that Hunter Dickinson is supposed to be making his announcement of where he will be attending school next year. So we'll obviously have more on this once whatever time this announcement comes out. But he wrote basically like a goodbye letter via Twitter, and the announcement who's coming up, and this happened on Twitter last night.
Yeah, I think the designer finally got back to him, because Keon Coleman posted his Instagram thing last night as well. So maybe they're using the same person. The guy was just backlogged.
A lot of portal stuff.
Yeah, a lot of portal. There's like 3,000 people, football players in the portal. So I think the guy was just like, hey, sorry, Hunter, this one, some reason went to the junk drawer of my emails.
Got the spam
Yep.
file. So late last night, Dickinson says his goodbye letter and said, the hardest decision I've ever had to make. The thought of potentially leaving the place I love and called home for 3 years was and is extraordinarily difficult to process. After conversations with my family and a lot of time and thought, I realized entering was the best decision for myself and my future. I've grown and learned so much in my 3 years at Michigan. And if I could do it all over again out of high school, there's no doubt in my mind I would make the same choice. That being said, it's time for me to move on. Now, since entering the portal, he has visited with Georgetown, Kansas, Kentucky, Maryland, and Villanova. And one of the things that I had heard was that one coach from a team that wears blue flew to Ann Arbor. They had a 2-hour meeting, got on the plane, and flew back. Private jet just buzzed right in. I was like, I don't think Hunter Dickinson's, too impressed with private jet. I don't think that really, I don't think that's really doing much for him. Before I announce today, Thursday, where I will be attending next year, I want to take the time to say thank you. Thank you to the coaching staff who believed in me and the player that I am today, to all the players I played with during my time. I know without you guys, I could never become the player I am today and accomplish what we accomplished. And lastly, to the fans, you guys showed me so much love in my 3 years. I really felt like a part of the community. And like Ann Arbor was my second home. I will always think of myself as a Michigan man. I know the decision to transfer came as a shock, and then I hope that with time you can come to understand why I chose to do it. Well, I can hope this. I like Hunter Dickinson as a player. Some of the antics, I don't need the arm gesture between the legs. I don't need the ski mask thing. You know how I felt about that. But you don't have to say, with time, you can come to understand why. You could just tell us, and then we don't have to speculate, right? And that's part of the transparency thing, that just tell us why you're leaving. That's all you got to do. There is a player from the Mid-American Conference who is leaving. He's probably going to go to either Indiana or Illinois, more than likely Illinois. And it will be his third stop. He was the Conference Player of the Year last year. From what I'm hearing, it is a hefty 6-figure payment to get him to come to Illinois. Hefty. Like unmatchable. That's why he's leaving. Just tell us what it is. That's the most frustrating part about all of this nonsense when it comes to the portal and, oh, thank God, thank my coaches. The same stuff from everybody. I got to thank God, everybody who believes in me, my family. I got to thank this, thank the fans. I love you guys. Hardy har har. Just come right out and say it. Look at this roster. What do you want me to do with this? I want to play for a national championship. I respect you if you say that. Call it what it is. This roster ain't good enough. I'm out of here. See ya. Okay. Or, hey, I'm making however much here at Michigan through the pay-for-play that we've disguised as name, image, and likeness. And I'm going to go make X amount more playing for Kentucky or Kansas. Let's call it what it is. What are we bent out of shape for? But instead, in time, you could come to understand why I chose to do it. Or you could just tell us, and then we don't have to come to understand anything. We get it, bro. We get it. If you want to go win, you want to play you want to get into a Final Four? That's why I try to explain, like, the group chat's like, Bellino, what do you think it is? I'm like, well, if you were built to contend, like Michigan State is, with a recruiting class like Michigan State has, I don't think he leaves. But guess what? You're not. The program right now is a revolving door, guys coming in, guys going out. You're not going to be able to sustain success like this. The portal is where you could supplement your roster in your program with the culture that you've already built through guys that have already been there, that have done that have a high buy-in level. It's not going to be through one-and-done players. Michigan, Beeline can't get the 5-star guy. Okay, how's that working out for you? I'll take the 3- and 4-star guy that turns into a 5-star guy and then goes to the NBA after a few years versus the guy who comes in, shows up, Caleb Houston, Moussa Diabate, Jet Howard. It's not doing anything for the program.
Kobe Buffkin's the guy you look at. Like, that's what we need, or those guys.
Kobe Buffkin going to the NBA was like Sebastian Janikowski from 65 yards right between your legs. Just having this. That's what that felt like. It was like, well, I mean, that's the reality of the situation. He's out too.
But that was one thing. Going into the year, no Michigan fan was like, hey, we probably only have Kobe Buffkin this year.
Buffkin watch.
Yeah. It wasn't that, because you weren't expecting this huge monumental growth from him. You're expecting him to keep growing. But then all of a sudden, late in the season, you're like, yeah, everyone is seeing what we're seeing. This isn't good for us. It's great for him, not good for us.
And to me, like, you could stop all this nonsense if you just come right out and say what it is. Maybe you're just tired of the fans. You could tell me that. And I'm tired. Like, we try to do something, and every time we try to do something, somebody complains about it. Like, I'm not doing it. Fine. Sure. Go that route if you want to. What does it matter to me? Just actually tell us why, and then we don't have to do this. Just say, hey, he's leaving for more money. I can respect that. I can understand that. Most people do. When offered a job, you might like your coworkers a whole lot.
College kids, I don't think fans would understand or respect that decision at this moment in time.
Really?
I don't think so. Like, if you're a MAC player, then, yeah, I think fans understand it. If you're coming from a Big Ten school, I think that sits a more sour.
Well, and the other thing it could be, right, is that if you come out and say, yeah, Kansas has offered me, let's say Kansas offers me $1 million to come play for them. What's that going to do? It's going to ignite the fan base to say, hey, maybe we need to look at doing some things a little differently. Maybe we need to change some things that we got going on here and apply a little pressure. And because it's not going to be, the current state of college athletics it's the most annoying sport in the world. College athletics, the most annoying business in the world. It unionize, get a salary cap, and get it under control. We've lost total institutional control. Like that, it happens in a lot of different facets in life too. You can't just run around doing everything you want all willy-nilly. Life doesn't work like that. Like, somebody's got to be in control of the situation. And the moment you lose control, this is what you have. Kansas doesn't, or maybe it goes to Kentucky. I don't know if Kentucky's tax rate's lower. I'm going to go there. It's understandable. I can get down with that. Which brings me to my next point. Do all these kids with their NIL money, do they have to pay? Like, how do they get taxed on that? Well, that's interesting. We'll step aside. John Maakron, Detroit Sports Podcast, coming up next year. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Godsmack, live and in your face. Friday, May 26th at Soaring Eagle Casino, plus Bad Wolves. And same show, same night, Bullet for My Valentine. Tickets Tickets start at $28. On sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. Party hard, rock harder. Godsmack, May 26th. Part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! James! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
It was a Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you riding along with us. A reminder, folks, now is a great time with the NBA playoff action happening every night. The DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the association. Get in on the excitement of every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet, score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins, plus everyone can score a no-sweat same-game parlay every day during the NBA playoffs. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place the same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $10. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline at 800-270-7117, 21 plus, Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required. One bonus bet issued based on the amount of the initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wager, and deposit restrictions will apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Time now to welcome in from the Detroit Sports Podcast. That's how you can find him on Twitter. Our good buddy, John Maakron. Johnny Mac, what's going on, partner? How are you? How's life? How are things, my man?
Everything is awesome. You caught me at the best time. A few days after the draft, recovered from a wild Detroit Lions draft with trades, moving on from a running back, all the analysis and reaction to what Brad Holmes did. It was just a wild 3 days, and now I'm just excited to see the fallout and really review everything that the Lions have done, watching film of the draft picks. It's just been great. It's a great time. Even though it's the offseason, rookie minicamp is just like 7 days away. So it's just a great time now following the Detroit Lions, especially after a draft that I felt was really positive for the Lions.
You know what? Let's start first. Your reaction to when they drafted a running back at number 12. I mean, a quarterback was on the board. Maybe there was a rumor if C.J. Stroud would have been there at 6, the Lions would have been interested in him. There was defensive line. A lot of fans thought that this team would work on the defensive line here at that position. They decide to trade back, and they go with running back Jahmyr Gibbs. What was your rapid reaction to that?
Yeah, look, I think Brad Holmes, if you guys pay attention to media sessions, he kind of prepped people for the potential for the Lions to draft a running back because he was asked about people's discussions about positional value. And he said, look, we just target players that fit our culture and that are good players. And he brought up the fact that he was part of a group that drafted Todd Gurley. So he set it up. He had talked about the opportunities that were out there for the Lions to draft good football players. And for me, I had basically in my research looked at Bijan Robinson. I was very impressed going all the way back in early mock drafts, far too early mock drafts back in December, looking at Bijan Robinson as a potential replacement for DeAndre Swift, because it was just shaping up to be a situation where Swift and the Lions were going to part ways. So obviously when it happened, I thought it was great that they were able to trade down. I think getting a running back at number 12, a little bit better than number 6 in terms of saving on payments and stuff like that. But when you look at, obviously people's reaction was very strong. And I understand because people were listening to pundits talk about positional value. You don't draft a running back early. But when you just simply turn on the tape of Jahmyr Gibbs, and over the past couple of days watching some of the games from Alabama, and you realize that Brad Holmes has spent time there, it's a great, wonderful draft pick, an offensive weapon that is going to help Jared Goff. And I just absolutely am impressed with the Lions being able to target solid offensive weapons and good football players. So I was not surprised, and I'm very impressed that the Lions were willing to do it, because this offense, while it was great last year, can be even better in 2023.
So what do you think how do you think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be used, John? Like what I've heard, we've done this with Alvin Kamara. We've kind of, I saw some tweets going back. They were screenshotting all the different running backs. This could be, and that's really, that's kind of what maybe the Lions are looking for. Could this be our version of Deebo Samuel?
Yeah, everywhere. I think that there's an opportunity, and I know you're going to hear this more often, that maybe running backs are going to be rebranded to be called quote-unquote offensive weapons. And what that means is he's going to line up potentially all over the place. In the slot, going to be used out of the backfield. We'll get screen passes. I think what you see with Jahmyr Gibbs on tape is an individual that on any given play can be a home run threat, has the quality stop-start ability, was able to make plays. And one trait that I think Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell and that offensive coaching staff are looking for in players, willingness to fight through tackles. And last year, when Ben Johnson wrapped up the season, he said that he felt like some of the plays that were called could have been even better in the run game had the running backs just broken a couple more tackles. So when you see David Montgomery in combination with Gibbs, you're going to see yards after contact, fighting through tackles, and just having the ability to do a little bit more, which is going to make that offense so much better. This offense is going to be even more explosive, and it's going to keep defenders on their heels, because once you give them a little Jahmyr Gibbs, then you start pounding them and wear them down with David Montgomery. So it's an upgraded running backs room, and Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a focal point. He's going to be somebody that the Lions target and give the football to. He's going to be utilized early, day one.
Staying on the offensive side of the football, the last pick the Lions made was in the 7th round. It was the second pick, and they went with Antoine Green out of North Carolina. I haven't seen a whole lot of him, but what I do know is you can't teach size, and he has got it. Where do you think that he fits in the wide receiver room for this club?
Yeah, and it's a real interesting when you look at what he brings to the table, size, and he averaged 18 yards per catch with Carolina. And early on, you see, obviously, a 7th rounder is going to have to battle to get on the roster, but I think you'll see special teams value. But where you see him, he's going to have an opportunity to get on the field. And early on, I think that, working with Marvin Jones, working with Josh Reynolds, you'll see him in some packages early in the season. But I think with a player like that, a developmental player, you're going to see somebody that's going to be brought along slowly. But with it's going to be great to see in training camp kind of how early he develops that connection, because like you said, size, has the ability to kind of take some of that, with losing DJ Chark, you lose some of that kind of big play capability and Jameson Williams suspension. So hopefully as the season progresses, you get a guy that has the potential to kind of, what Jared Goff struggles the most with is kind of that mid-range passing, finding somebody to kind of extend plays and take pressure away from the defensive line. So what you want to do is just basically try to have him be an intermediate threat, in that 15 to 20-yard range, certain opportunities early on. But deep threats, the more deep threats you can have, the better your offense is going to be, but it's going to be brought along slowly.
Speaking of guys brought along slowly, one of the guys I was very interested in, because the quarterback position is something that we got to have a backup, right? And no offense to Nate Sudfeld, great guy, but at the end of the day, this team has to be able to, add some quality depth there. They have to get maybe a little bit younger, especially on the cap, because most people are going to get younger. Guy's 25, but quarterbacks play longer, so that's okay. And then it'll bring us to the Jared Goff decision and what happens, after this season, because I think a lot of it does hinge on this season. But the selection of Hendon Hooker, I mean, if he doesn't get injured, he's probably, he's in the conversation for the first quarterback off the board. I think right there with Bryce Young. He's a Heisman front runner, 27 touchdowns, only 2 picks when he got hurt. Excuse me, I had to sneeze there. But what about the actual selection of him? I liked it a lot, especially where they picked him at. How do you see the actual pick itself, and then where do you see Hendon Hooker fitting into the Lions moving forward?
Yeah, it's real interesting when you debate what we want as supporters and those following versus what actually happened. Look, Jared Goff, clear-cut QB1. He's the starter. He's the guy that the organization has been building an offensive line around, bringing in offensive weapons. And we all just wanted, and Brad Holmes had said that he didn't do enough in that quarterback's room. So it's been several seasons since the Lions drafted a quarterback, and he came out, Brad Holmes, and said that he needed to do more to fill out that quarterback's room behind Nate Sudfeld. And you add a quarterback that I think you can purely describe as a developmental quarterback. There is no controversy. As much as people want to think that Hendon Hooker is going to battle in year one to take Jared Goff's job, it's not going to happen. Even if Jared Goff goes down, I don't think the Lions are going to throw him to the wolves. They're going to protect him and truly develop a quarterback, because when you look at film of Hendon Hooker, the offense at Tennessee was kind of more of a single read, quick decision kind of offense. And Ben Johnson is running an offense that is extremely intricate and has so many ways in which the route trees, the way in which the concepts and designs are run, that a quarterback coming in first year is not going to master it that quickly. So if something happens to Jared Goff, you would expect Nate Sudfeld to be the backup QB2. First year, I think that Hendon Hooker is going to be able to learn from Jared Goff, learn from Nate Sudfeld, have no pressure. That's what Brad Holmes said after one of the draft days. He said, look, we don't want Hendon Hooker to have any pressure. He is truly a player that we want to, one, to get healthy, two, to understand the NFL system, the NFL life, and to be able to, at one point in the future, maybe, at this point we can say they want him to be a reliable backup, that if the decision is made, because we still have to see how Jared Goff does in 2023, is he the playoff winning quarterback that everybody is expecting, that in a couple years, if Jared Goff is not the guy, then potentially you give Hendon Hooker his opportunity. But for everybody, pump the brakes. He's not probably going to see the field in 2023.
And I'm perfectly fine with that too, John. I really am. That's why him actually getting injured, it might almost benefit him. I like the fact that he's older. I know that some people are like, oh, he's already 25. I like that. I want my quarterback to be the CEO of the franchise. I want him to be buttoned up. I want him to know, the presentation of himself and what this organization is going to be about. I think that matters. I think that it's important. And for me, I absolutely love it. Now, let's go to the defensive side of the football here because, obviously Jalen Carter was there when the Lions could have selected at 6 and they decided to trade back. I think that some people see what Philadelphia did. I mean, they got an offensive tackle from Alabama in Tyler Steen. They got Nolan Smith, the outside linebacker from Georgia, to pair with Jalen Carter. That picks 31 and picks 9, respectively, there in the first round. I think that sometimes some folks, maybe you look at Houston's draft, C.J. Stroud, then trade right up and get Will Anderson Jr. That was pretty. It's a pretty bold move and at a very hefty cost for next season too, with that first round pick going. So my question is, do you think that because maybe some of the selections here from the Lions weren't necessarily quote unquote brand names? I don't know. I don't want to say that about Jahmyr Gibbs because the guy played at Alabama. Brian Branch played at Alabama. You went Alabama, Iowa, Alabama. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of fans, didn't get the guy that the mock draft said, and so therefore they kind of spiraled out of control on draft day.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up mock drafts real fast. Just for those that hate mock drafts, if you have paid attention to mock drafts throughout the time around January when they start picking up, you would have known about 50% of the players potentially the Lions were targeting in Hendon Hooker, Brian Branch, Jack Campbell, and Sam Laporta all had been mocked to Detroit. So while it's not going to be perfect in exactly the spot, no one's going to be able to predict exactly trades. Mock drafts will give you clusters of players that the Lions are interested in. 50% you would have been aware of had you followed mock drafts. So they do have some value, but they're not gospel, and that's the way to look at it. But for the Lions, you look at what they're looking for, and a player – I'm glad that Jalen Carter was there at 6 because it gave us a definitive answer. They did the evaluation, and they felt it wasn't a fit. That's what it did. It gave you the answer that, okay, after Jameson Williams' situation, which may have impacted it slightly, but I would say that a guy like Jalen Carter is far too great a risk for what Brad Holmes was willing to do. The Lions are targeting players that are hardworking, all about football, and are dedicated, and when the chips are down, they trust that they can get back up and have no real question. So picking up a Broderick Martin, I know is not going to light the world on fire, but this is an athletic defensive lineman with massive size that just his sheer body type will clog up the middle. Now, he's got things to work on. He's a developmental player. But you guys got to remember, Brad Holmes likes these kind of players that he finds in these all-star games, the East-West Shrine Bowl. And he likes players that, even though they might not have exactly the supreme talent or the 5 stars coming out, that when they get into the Lions system are going to work hard and develop. Just look at the likes of a Kirby Joseph, Malcolm Rodriguez, that with the system in place, this is what benefit for those that are listening the Lions have with having a good coaching staff. is that when you have a solid coaching staff, you can bring in players into a system and then have them develop if you target the right players. And yes, everybody would have loved the Jalen Carter because his film just jumps off the tape. But sometimes risks far outweigh rewards, and you realize that, okay, let's see how Broderick Martin and what he brings to the table, how he fits into that defensive line. He is going to be a run stopper, but at the same time, sometimes we always have to put on the table that a draft class, you look at fits. Broderick Martin fitting with Jack Campbell definitely improves the run game because Jack Campbell is a monster in the middle, and he's going to be anchoring that defense for the next decade. So you always have to look at it in combination with the other draft picks. And I think when in totality, when we look back on the Detroit Lions, if they go on this run, which is expected over the next 2 to 3 seasons, it's going to be stemming from the 3 draft classes that Brad Holmes put together, who basically deconstructed a roster in 3 years and brought in core players for the next several seasons. So in my opinion, it's a great draft class that has set up the Lions for success in the playoffs, not only for 1 year, but for the next few years. And that's the way I'm looking at it. And we'll look back on these 3 drafts as a time when Brad Holmes put in a system that was a situation that allowed the Lions to target players to fit their system and to perform on the field.
It sounds like you're overall very happy with the way that the 2023 NFL draft went for the Detroit Lions.
I'm very impressed. I think that when you look at how the Lions are operating, they're targeting players that obviously have a certain psychological trait as well. Hardworking, smart football players and dedicated. Broderick Martin said that he's dedicating his career to his older brother who had passed away. They have motivation. They have strong football IQ, a love of football. When Jack Campbell came to Allen Park, he just really shined in the way in which he spoke to the media. Go back and listen to what he said. He talked about winning. He talked about getting into Detroit and getting to work. And he's not on social media. He's somebody that is dedicated to his craft. And that's what you're seeing in terms of who's being brought to the building. Guys that love football, guys that are willing to grind, that understand what the Lions are about, and the Lions are targeting those type of players. And the proof's in the pudding. When you see an Amon-Ra St. Brown, you see a Kirby Joseph, and you see so many players that now start entering the game. James Houston, I mean, it's no secret that the reason he was able to have success was he wasn't thrown into the fire right away. The coaching staff made a concerted effort to develop him on the practice squad, and then, boom, when the time came and he had his opportunity, he took full advantage of it. 8 sacks, it came out of nowhere. And you'll have that potential when you have, 1, a good group of coaches, and 2, a good system of scouts in place. And the proof's in the pudding. These 3 draft classes have produced a core that I think are going to shine for many years to come. I'm very impressed. And for me, I'm on the side of what Brad Holmes said. I don't worry about positional value. If you find a great running back that can play, add him to the team. I was pining for Bijan Robinson. I loved his tape, but the Lions went in a different direction. But I was not shocked at all they went running back. And if you follow all Lions, you knew that we talked about the potential of the Lions adding 1 offensive player and 1 defensive player in this draft, because that's how it was looking from the inside.
John Maakron, the Detroit Sports Podcast. Find him on Twitter at Detroit Podcast. Find his work, All Lions Sports Illustrated coverage with our good friend, Double L, Logan Lamorandier. John, my friend, as always, partner, thank you so much for your time today. Have a great day and a great rest of the weekend, my man. Thanks again.
You guys, too. Always enjoy talking. Let's talk soon.
There he goes. For Dan and Ryan and Anthony, so long. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Have you ever played golf at Tullymore, St. Ives? Have you experienced a stay-and-play package in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of Grand Rapids? Well, here's what you need to do if you want to take advantage of great deals right now. Go to tullymoregolf.com. That's tullymoregolf.com, and you'll see the link for packages, accommodations, dining, meetings, weddings, events, and so much more, and especially golf on the 18-hole layout at Tullymore and the 18 holes at St. Ives. And they can accommodate any group, whether it's 2 people getting together or 200 looking for a weekend or an overnight celebration. That includes a little business, golf, great food, and beverages. Just go to tullymoregolf.com. That's tullymoregolf.com. They're located in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of GR. Get more info at TullymoreGolf.com.
Got any plans for Mental Health Action Day? You do now. Join us online on Thursday, May 18th from 7 to 9 p.m. for In Tune, a free live stream event featuring performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Barrel Bones, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to find out how you can log in and join the celebration for free. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day. Take action. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org and join the celebration.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, BeanGarter.com.